Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Knife Delights and welcome to this special edition of Saturday Chat. We're going to try to do a live here this morning, and I've got a couple of great guests on with me here today. I got one great guest, and then I have RJ. But no. Defend yourself,
Wow,
RJ.
it's already starting out rough.
It's already starting out rough, isn't it? No.
And he was so nice before it came on.
Two very good friends of mine, Paddy from Paddy's Potato Peelers, and of course Rod from RJ's Knives. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here. Have a little chat this morning. RJ is making the biggest sacrifice. It's about 2 a.m. where he's at. It's a nice, mid-morning for you, Paddy, around 10 o'clock?
Yeah, it's absolutely, but 10 o'clock it is, exactly.
Well, that's great. Now, RJ, you may defend yourself.
I have nothing to defend. I can't help where the clock is. They don't let me make those choices.
They don't let you make those choices, huh? Well, no. I just want to welcome everybody that's joining us here on the live. James Stork just came in, and we got Slippy and Retro Stew. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. And as we go forward, if folks would leave a comment on whether this is a good time, across the shuck, as Paddy would say, and if this is convenient, or should I make RJ get up even earlier? That's the question.
Is that another option?
That's another option, yes. So anyway, Paddy, I just kind of like to talk here a little bit. I'm getting a lot of comments on my videos, and I know you and RJ do also, but a lot of people are pretty happy about how the knife channels are all getting along, and they're really happy about the knife community. How we kind of share. We don't disparage one another. It's not a competition of me over you. What are your thoughts?
Well, to be honest, Tom, I think I'm probably the most blessed out of the three of us, because for years I didn't have anybody who wanted to talk slip joints. There was very few people, and so I got on that run of chasing locking knives and whatever. And yes, I love them. I still have them and I still use them, but my heart is in slip joints. And over this last sort of 2 years, there's been an explosion of people who are now collecting slip joints. And I get the benefit of it because I've been about a while, and the joy of people like yourselves who let me into your lives, because I see a lot of people starting out, it's their first go at slip joints, and the excitement, I get such a buzz out of seeing somebody get a knife and realizing, where has this knife been all my life? Why have I not carried one of these? And it's fantastic. So it's a double benefit to me. I love my slip joints, but now I've got people to share them with, because having a box full of knives isn't as much fun on your own. So my joy has just doubled. This last 2 years has been fantastic. And meeting people like yourselves, people that I may never meet unless there's a lot of dimes go into that wee jar and you get over to Ireland. I might never meet you, but yet I've made such lovely friendships.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. RJ, what are your thoughts?
I kind of echo what Paddy said, and it's like even when I started, because I'm part of that 2-year bumper crop and stuff, and it's so neat, because when you decide that you're going to actually start a channel, and then you say, okay, I'm going to choose slip joints to be what I'm going to focus on, and you get these really cool knives like this little Swiss Army one. But then the fact that you're talking to Paddy and stuff, I never thought when I started that I'd ever talk to Paddy, and to have the ability to visit with him every week is just a pure blessing in my life. It's just a lot of fun to talk to like-minded people, and we've all come together kind of over our joy in these older knives, in the older style knives that are out there.
Right. Well, I'll just kind of fill in my thoughts here. RJ and Thrifty Kniffy were, I guess, probably the first channels to really recognize my new channel when I had just started out. I remember the thrill that, hey, somebody actually noticed me, because you start a channel and you start making videos, and it's like, well, nobody's watching,
Right.
nobody's subscribing. And I think it's even harder these days because we have so many good channels starting up, especially in the last 6 months to a year. Just
Yeah.
fantastic. And before I forget, I just came across the channel the other day. He participated in my 2 for Tuesday, and that is Last Chance Knives. So
I'll write that down.
everyone, Last Chance Knives, and he's around 200 subscribers. So I think it's great that channels are giving other channels shout outs, and that's what you need in order to get some viewership up. It helps you in your confidence that I want to keep doing this because people are actually watching. So RJ and TK, I give them a lot of credit for giving me the encouragement and helping me out at the beginning. And then with Paddy. Now, Paddy and I, we've been commenting back and forth on each other's videos for a while. But then one day I came across this knife in an antique store.
Yeah, the boy's knife.
The boy's favorite. And it's just a couple pieces of stamped metal with a, now broken tip blade on it. And I was so happy to find this in the antique store, and I did my video on it. And Paddy said he saw me excited about it, so he did a kind of a response video showing what he called the dime knife and the boys' knives and that. And I think, Paddy, this is where our friendship really kind of took off after this.
It really is. It's my passion with knives and what draws me to a channel, because to be honest, there's so many channels out there. I can't keep up watching them. You need more hours in the day to keep up with all the new channels. But when I see somebody who's got enthusiasm, and you both have it, when I see somebody who's doing it, and you can feel the passion coming on the screen, because it doesn't matter what the knife costs. It's when you find something, a wee gem or a bargain, the joy you get in that that's the bonus. That's the bonus. I mean,
that's true.
You buy an expensive knife, and yes, it's going to be nice, but when you get a little bargain that costs $10 in a thrift shop, fantastic.
We have a comment alert, Tom.
Okay.
Thrifty is actually here in the comments, but he's apparently operating only at 37.8%.
So he's half naked.
Well, he's doing better than me. I'm at about 33.1. So
my gauge is busted, so I don't know where I'm at.
That's for sure. Now, Paddy, you got yourself a very interesting knife. It's an interesting pattern, and you got it from a friend of yours. Would you mind sharing that with the audience here?
Yes, and this is another part of the friendship, is subscribers, people who don't have channels that take the time to watch our videos. How do you thank them? Yeah, I mean, you just can't, because they put so much into the time, their time to sit and watch my video. And like my videos go on, I drone on a bit. I can go on for half an hour at the drop of a hat. But I got this beautiful knife in the post. It was one of my subscribers. And he just sent me a wee text after one of my videos. He says, look, I'd like to help give you something for the channel. Would you mind if I sent you a knife? And I said, thank you very much, because that's what you have to say. But look at this knife that he sent me. Isn't this just, let me see if I can get my hand. There we go.
There, yeah.
This is a beautiful case Rockroslock. And to be honest with you, I don't know whether I would ever have bought one. But now that I've got one, I can't understand why I waited. Because to me, it looks like a pterodactyl head, two big wings coming out. It's so comfortable. I didn't expect it to be comfortable. I really didn't. And it's a really comfortable. Now, you wouldn't want to spend 3 hours whittling a stick, but as a pen knife, it's just absolutely super. And it's not that thin, I have to say, I've been really blown away by it. This is when Case do things right. The bone on this is some of the nicest bone I have ever had on any knife at any price. And it's just, honestly, I'm really, really taken with it. Not only that it's a gift, but the fact that it's a gift that, wow, the pride of ownership in this, It's just fantastic. It's a lock-in
Yeah.
knife, which is great. And it's not one that I had. And to me, it just, like, there's the back. I mean, there's a slightest wee tiny gap if you look seriously, but good gosh, in a pocket knife, that doesn't matter. Listen to the retention. This is what I liked about it. Listen to that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
That is
So
nice.
I have cut myself twice because I'm trying to learn how to open the blooming thing, but that's my fault, not the knives. But
Yep.
yeah, I have to say, when you get a gift from a subscriber, it's fantastic. It's a real boost to your, I don't know what way to put it. It's just a real lovely gesture, and I really do.
Yeah.
Because somebody's actually just giving you money. Do you
Yep.
know what I mean? And
Yep,
they don't
absolutely.
have to do that.
No.
And it's
Well,
just
RJ,
such a joy.
do you have a little story about maybe a knife that you've received from a viewer?
I have several.
Well, share away, sir.
Well, I mean, I did grab this one just in case it came up, but this saber trapper from Japan, from
Yeah.
the 80s or whatever, just a lovely little knife, came to me in the mail, just completely unexpected, and it's just such a joy to use. It's just it's a really neat little knife, and it's smaller than your normal trappers, because it's more like the slimline trapper. And so there's everyone's favorite blade, the Spey,
Oh.
because you just got to have that. But I found that it was very close to the Case slimline trapper as far as a comparison, rather than a standard trapper.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, just a lovely little knife, but one that I had no idea about having a saber knife at all. So it was, hey, Beaver, I see you're there. I have the same problem, Tom, that you have, is that I can't get to the chat or at least the public chat. I think I have to snap out the window or something for the chat.
Yeah, I've got to use two different devices because I actually use my tablet for the StreamYard while I have YouTube up on my PC. So
Okay,
that's how I do it. So
all right, I was thinking I should have done this. I'm a bad producer.
No, you're just a producer in training.
Oh, thank you. John, now that he saw a Spey blade, it had the same effect on him as a vampire seeing a cross or something. Because he said
I see
now
that.
he's at 29.6%.
Yeah.
But before you navigate away from me, I agree about Case having a beautiful bone. This is that trapper that Pete sent to me, which is another lovely thing, is that besides viewers sending us really neat things, sometimes other YouTubers do too, and that's really cool that we can share our joy of knives and stuff with each other. And sometimes something like that comes and shows up in your mailbox that you totally were not expecting, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm like a little boy. I run into my wife, the shore, who has no interest in it.
I know. I do the same thing. I'll see a knife that's really cool. I'll tell my wife, look at this, and she's just like, oh, I don't care.
Well, I just wanted Thrifty and all the other viewers to know I did buy donuts to share with everybody, but my grandkids are spending the weekend. I think they ate them last night. So sorry, no donuts.
Yeah.
Wow. No donuts?
Since we're
no donuts, no subs.
That's right. No donuts, no subs. Where's Jerome when you need him, right?
I know.
Well, Tyler Gibson just joined us. Hello, Tyler. So since everyone's showing blue bone, this is not a Case, but this is a buck trapper with its blue bone.
Yeah.
And this was a limited edition.
Tom, is there a reason you think that buck don't do bone more often? Because that is just beautiful.
It sure is. I think part of the reason is they focus mostly on their fixed blade hunting knives. I mean, that's that and the 110 and 112 folding hunters. And I guess that's their main focus. And I think there's so much competition with slip joint because now you got Rough Riders and you have the old Queen name coming back, in the budget knives. I guess they're just maybe seeding that part of the market. Although they do have some of their budget models, slip joint models being made overseas to try to compete and to try to keep them in the Walmarts and things like that. And I just think it's a matter of focus. But I agree.
If they would,
when you go back and start looking at some of these knives back from the 80s and 90s, Buck really did some really fine work on these. And of course, this was a limited edition here.
But even if they only done limited edition ones every year, sort of, do a different model every year, what a collecting piece.
It would be. Now, I have to show this. I'm required. We'll see what percent he goes down to now.
It's all right. I've got the one that's going to put him to bed.
I was going to say, John's going to go back to bed soon.
We got Martin Riley just came in, and he says, That's nice, Tom. Morning, all. Well, morning to you, Martin.
Morning, Martin.
Yep, and Retro Stu wants to have a blue bone knife in his collection. I think that's an excellent thing to do.
We look at
Good night, RJ.
I knew it was coming out.
I've already been kicked out.
Thrifty, good night, mate. It's been lovely to see you. I can see it through my hands. I've been carrying this. This is the second day now. I absolutely adore this knife.
Okay.
My favorite knife.
Question for you, Paddy.
Yeah.
With as wide a blade as that is, what's the difference between that and a cotton sampler? Because that reminds me of a cotton sampler blade. The
cotton sampler, if you like down here where the ricasso is an inset ricasso where they used to put the bail and pull it across it to stretch it to see how good the cotton was. And the larger part of the blade was for putting into the bail and turning and getting a sample out, and then they'd stretch it over that little bare bit that's flat. It's not sharpened or never was. It's for stretching the cotton to see how good it was. Sure. Because what they tended to do is put the good cotton round old stuff on the inside of the bales to try and get a better price.
Oh yeah. That used to happen with like the corn and soybeans and stuff like this. As they would haul it in, they always kept the good stuff on top. Now they have a big arm with a big tube that goes down and gets a sample from the center of the wagon, so they can check the moisture content and all that.
Exactly. So, wherever there's a chance to make a buck, you'll always find a tool that has been found to use and work to test them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, here's a simple fact. I wonder how many thousands of dollars were saved by this simple knife going into the cotton bale and checking it. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It invests me more in the knife if it's got a purpose.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we have Warthog joining us.
Exactly. Wow. We have Rick, so now we got an all-star.
We have an all-star. You bet.
You have to watch what you say now because he knows.
Exactly. That's what I'm always afraid of.
Well, and we get back to viewers and on other channels. I know there's some viewers out there that have some very, very awesome knife collections. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get some more of those to start a channel?
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the likes of Gizmo, just for one off the top of my head. He is a font of information, always contributes to my, and he has done for years.
Yeah.
And I would love to see his collection. Not so much see his collection, hear him talk about it, because that knowledge needs to come out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would encourage any viewers out there, if you don't want to start a channel, we understand that. I mean, it takes some time and some work, but I shouldn't even call it work. I find it a joy to be able to do the channel and do the reviews. But for find your favorite channel and send that channel an email if you're willing to maybe show some of your knives on their channel. There's a lot of channels out there that are doing lives or doing pre-recorded type things. It's very easy to do. You don't have to be nervous about it. If I can do it, and certainly if Paddy can get on here and talk, anybody can do it, right, Paddy?
RJ, is he putting me down the bottom of that list there?
Oh, I was trying to prop
I
you
was
up.
just shoved right down the bottom.
I was trying to prop you up.
I was kind of
Is he
confused by that
struggling to get
too.
guests?
I was thinking back to Rick's comment where he said, what in the heck are we all doing up at this hour? Which I still don't have a good idea of why I'm doing this.
We've got to talk about knives.
Just to talk
That's
about
right. We're
knives.
going to talk about if we're going to talk about knives, I love talking about knives. That's one of the things that is true. Is that if anybody wants to talk about them, I'm ready anytime, anywhere. Right, Tom?
Absolutely. And you're proving it right now.
Very much so. I'm so impressed.
I'm impressed that he's awake,
keep me awake.
Paddy.
Yeah, my wife said, "Are you going to be able to do this?" I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm a stud." And she said, "Yeah, you're about as bright as a 2x4. I know."
Well, I was going to say you don't look like you're on a tire in Minneapolis.
I know. I am not. Although
You're
they're
not.
putting those away now. It's the season to put those away.
Here's a quick question. What sort of channels did you watch before you started your own channel? What were your favorite sort of channels? And I know there's plenty of them. I'm not deriving anything bad about the other ones, but what were the ones that sort of got you hooked?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. But I was watching, and this goes back to probably, I watched YouTube probably at least 10 years or more before I ever started my channel.
Right.
So I was watching guys like Nut and Fancy, Cutlery Lover, Jeff, Messer HQ, your channel, Tobias, Big Red EDC. I would watch all you guys, and I watch, smaller channels that aren't even here anymore, like Blue Collar Survival, and there was a couple other channels that they've kind of, gone by the wayside, that were younger channels that they only stayed around like just a couple of years. But I was watching those guys, and they were all inspirations to me in some way or form, because that was the fun thing about YouTube. When you discover YouTube, is like, hey, I don't have to, go far to find my interests. So if I want to talk about knives, if I want to see knives, if I want to, do any kind of a thing, it's on YouTube. And that's one of the things that's kind of cool about YouTube, is that you can find all your stuff. Now, I would say that I got although my wife encouraged me to start my own channel, I encouraged her to start watching YouTube when she was saying, there was nothing on TV she wanted to watch. And, so now she watches YouTube as much or more than I do. So of course she's watching her stuff. Oh yeah. Jimmy Slash was another one. Yeah. El Cap Addict, and yep, Zach stuff and Big Red EDC. Those were definitely, foundational channels for me, because that was another thing, is that I kind of saw how Zach and Big Red handled their channels and the things that they were doing. And I wanted to kind of, go down that same path that they were, not copy them line for line, but definitely, have the hashtag DSKFS, be a big part of what I was doing, and that's part of why I've always been interested in shining a light on other channels and talking about other channels, and get as many other people encouraged and try to get them to come along on this journey, because it's just kind of fun. It's certainly different than, you never know when you start. You're thinking, you don't even know if anybody's even going to watch your videos. And like I said, with talking with you, the same thing with my first video. I made it because it was an answer to Pete, Jersey Knife Guy. He had showed a electrician's knife, and I showed off my electrician's knife, and in my head I'm thinking, this sure would be neat if Pete would ever see my video. And now I talk to Pete, 2 or 3 times a week, and I never would have thought that would have happened, but it did, so it's just kind of cool.
It's nice. The journey is often, it's a big part of it.
Yes.
Because when I came around, Nothing Fancy and Jeff were the two that got me inspired. And then it all flowed from them too. I still watch Jeff today. I'm still subscribed to Jeff. Nothing Fancy, I sort of let go. He's gone into commando mode. Right. And that's not where, that's not what I want to watch. But he was fun to watch because he was arrogant. He was brash. He was just in your face. And I loved that for a while. So, but now Jeff, I still watch.
Yeah, I still watch Jeff too. Yeah,
I think for me, one of the big, or the channel that I came across first and watched a lot of was Tobias.
Yes.
Knife Chats with Tobias, and I watched him for many years. And I watch him because he's got such great knowledge on the slip joints and everything. And then when the knife collecting bug kind of bit me, I was watching like Blade HQ and those shows that they would put out when they had their new products, and that's kind of what I was following. I did watch Nothing Fancy also, but again, I've kind of drifted away from that because I've gotten more into just strictly knife content. But I guess Tobias I'd have to give him credit for being a big influence. And like RJ says, you watch, and even then, Paddy, when you and I met, or I found your channel and started watching you, all of us take tips from you. We don't try to be you. Well, I do on occasion. I've done a couple parodies, but moon, I tell you, over the moon. But no, you guys have forged ahead and given us a path for the rest of us to follow, and so we appreciate it so much.
But I honestly, like I keep saying, I think I get the benefit of being around a wee bit earlier because I'm getting to see the slip joint and the likes of the buck knives. I mean, there was people who were buck supporters and they bought the knives, but you don't just collect bucks. You're enjoying every other part of it as well. And I know you're starting to center back into bucks, but it's the excitement of watching people build a collection and not necessarily new knives. I just think that when people come around, it all seems to be follow the fashion, follow that go and buy as many knives as you can for the channel, and you lose that. I think you lose the passion for what you're collecting in the first place for. And I think less knives and maybe more talk on the older knives. And as you've come up through all the different knives you have, that's what that excites me.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
You don't need to have a lot of money to start a channel. You need to have a lot of time because you're going to have to watch more videos, comment on more videos, talk to people. You need that. You need time and a passion, but you don't need a lot of money. Now the basic budget knives could last you the rest of your life. You could buy 3 of them and they'll last you till you go in the coffin. So I mean, there isn't that desire, I don't think, in our sort of side in the slip joint side, to have these very high-end expensive knives. But I like them too. Yeah. But they're definitely not what I started with. I was very budget. If you go back to my channel, for years mine was budget knives, usually China made because they were the cheapest ones I could buy.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, Paddy, guess what I discovered?
What's that?
When I manipulate this, to like bring you up onto the solo screen and stuff, did you know there's some other buttons here? Like one is like banned from studio. So if RJ gets out of line, look what I can do.
And he will get out of line.
Probably, yeah. I can feel it. I can feel the wheels coming off now.
So,
he's frozen.
So here's a question. Here's an open question for both of you. And this is kind of geared for the viewers, just to kind of give them a little inside baseball or what happened. So what for your typical videos, now we all sometimes just grab a knife and say, I'm excited, I'm doing this video on it, and so on. But on a more regular basis, when you're planning a knife review or doing a video, what are the processes that you go through in your mind? Or what is that like to say, I don't know what I'm going to do for my next video? You know, what is the processes that I have to go through in order to come up with a video idea? And I'll throw it out, and whoever wants to take a shot at that first.
Go ahead, RJ. You go on.
You want me to go? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Usually, what happens, like, I'll grab these knives real quick that I just had. So I get this knife, this saber knife, and this came to me from El Phoenix, and I don't know if he's here this morning. I didn't see him in the chat, but so he sent me this, and I'm so appreciative of this. So when I start to look at it, you know, it's like, what do I want to do with it? What is it saying to me? What is it, you know, does it talk to me? And I'll manipulate it. I'll do stuff. And then like, I'll grab another thing, you know, like it was a trapper. So I said, okay, well, here's a standard trapper, but you know, these guys are not the same. You know, this guy's definitely slimmer. So let me grab my slimline trapper. And then I'm like, oh yeah, both of these guys are very similar, you know. So then I'll just go over the differences and I'll talk about those. But then sometimes you get knives that are feeling, you know, that you just are so excited about. You know, like even this one, this little the Swiss Army knife that I put the translucent scales on. I was just so excited about, you know, putting some plus scales onto a 91 millimeter knife, and see, I'm still smiling right now. And it's just it's just fun. It's just, you know, these are the things that you just look at it and you're just like, you know, wow, you know, what in the world, you know, can I talk about this knife? What can I share about this knife? How does this knife make me feel? And I try to, like you said, Patty, I tried to get the emotion out of it and stuff, you know, because I could just sit here and tell you, well, you know, this is 91 millimeters and it has so many tools, and this is the, you know, and I do go over specs in the reviewing process, but more of it is, you know, what kind of feeling do I have? You know, how did it talk to me? How did it make me feel? And that's it.
And that's it. Okay, Patty?
Yeah, I'm a bit different. I visually love something, and then I get to see it or handle it. That comes nearly secondary. I love that first initial, something that gets me excited just by the looks of it. Something that's maybe a little bit different, like my spy blade. Getting that was just a joy. But what I tend to do is I'm going to do a video, and this is, I suppose, after years and years of doing them, it's sometimes quite difficult to come up with a video in your head. So especially on a Saturday, I go into my room, and Sally will confirm this. I will have my desk covered in knives, and then I'll just sit and look, and something jumps out. That's exactly how I do it. There's no grip, unless it's a new knife in and I'm going to review it. But if I want to make a video from scratch, it's put a whole stack of knives down, and then I look for something that gets me excited that day, or something that makes me feel, oh God, I forgot about that knife. And sometimes that's the only way to do it, is put knives that you don't normally put down. I put them all over the table and then try to get a theme or something. I love open tags. I love that joy of just seeing other people get knives out that you mightn't see. They're knives that maybe at the back of the drawer. Get them out and show them. You know, and even if you're not keen on them, they guarantee there'll be other people out there that'll have one of them, and they'll feel justified because they're seeing it on screen, another one. And that's good.
Yeah, open tags have definitely been something that have kickstarted something. Like, I'll have an idea for a video, and I'll say, you know, well, I'm got this idea cooking in the back of my head, and I know what I'm going to say and all this other stuff. And then somebody has an open tag, and it's like all about, you know, like that knife. So you're like, okay, well, throw away that. Now I'm going to just do the open tag and follow along with that. Then, yeah, open tags are a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. And thank you, Rick, for your comment. I did read that, and yeah, I definitely feel that kinship with you for sure. Yep. I've always been a big fan of Rick. his collection. Every time I see one of his videos, it makes me drool. And
oh yeah,
and then way back Wednesday, I love it. I did my first one just this week on that Saber Trapper, but yeah, I got some more oldie but goodies that we can throw in, and I'm even going to pull some new old knives that I have, and then I'm going to go back and some of the older knives that I have in my collection will probably show up on that theme. So
Yeah. Yeah,
good
I
stuff
missed
coming.
last week as well, and I missed this week because I was coming down the caravan. So next week I am definitely starting the way back Thursday and showing some of my, because I've quite a few old knives that I love, and I don't show that much.
Yeah.
But and it's not that I don't. I've got to the stage now where I don't care how many views I get if I'm doing something that is nice for me. So what if I only get 200 views? I don't care. There's 200 people that maybe haven't seen that knife and are getting to share it.
Yep.
And they're every bit as important to the ones where I get 1,000 views, which are not that often now. But
Yep. So here's I've had some of the younger channels express concern, and it kind of goes back to something you said or talked about, Paddy, with you don't need that many knives, but a lot of younger channels, and I know I had this fear or concern, if you will, that how do I keep my videos going? I only have X amount of knives, and I want to keep doing videos, but I'm going to get through all my knives, and so then what am I going to do? And I just thought this would be a good time to talk about open tags, especially for those younger channels.
yeah,
It's a way to join in, and I've used the same knife in multiple videos because you're talking about a different aspect of the knife rather than just the review of that knife. So I guess I was going somewhere with a question here. I was going somewhere.
but I think you hit it.
Take it away, Paddy. It just slipped out of my mind.
I think you actually hit it in the head. One knife has many different videos.
Yes.
Because there's the aesthetic of the knife, there's the use of the knife, and your use of the knife and what it was made for, the history of the knife. You can make so many videos on one knife. And even if you've got 10 knives, if you say you can have 4 videos or 5 videos on one knife, that's 6 months worth of viewing content. And joining in with an open tag is the best way to get to know anybody and let other people get to know you, because a lot of viewers out there love the open tags, and they'll watch them and they're going to see that you've commented and they'll go and have a look at you. It's
right.
The networking is, even in business, is the best way of getting your name out, your channel out,
Yes.
and give channels like me, send me a text and say, look, would you give me a shout out? I'd love to do it for you. I just have so many that I've got to try and watch, and I just maybe don't get to hit them all. But if you want your channel shouted out, somebody like me or the two boys there, give us your name and we'll shout it out. I mean, half the times I forget, but if I had somebody who'd sent me a message and I write it down, I'll give you a shout out with pleasure. With pleasure.
Yep, I agree.
I know where I was going with this question, or what my question was now. Have you ever had a viewer or someone complain that you're showing the same knife too many times?
Not once.
RJ?
Not once.
No, only John.
Only John.
Only John.
Well, he's probably only down to like 17% and probably won't be able to respond. So.
Good night, John. I'll open it.
I think you're right, and I have encouraged channels to participate in open tags, like you have your 3 for Thursday. And just a little tip, like you have your 3 for Thursday. I stole your idea and came up with 2 for Tuesday. And that's how I came across Last Chance Knives. And just a little tip, if you want to join the open tag, use the same subject line as the original channel that put out that open tag, because that ties into the YouTube algorithm. So if you have 10 videos with the first 3 words are 3 for Thursday, and you're watching 2 or 3 of them, then someone with a new channel that has that same 3 words in it might get put into your feed. And that's how a younger channel can get seen by more new viewers and introduced to more viewers. So
I didn't even know that.
yeah, just a little tip. Yeah. Last
Well,
Chance
Tom-
Knives.
Tom
He,
knows the algorithm.
Yeah, everything's the algorithm with YouTube. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So
I really am an old bore. I don't look at algorithms. I can't work out all that nonsense. I just can't. That's just not part of my YouTube life.
hey, we got a question here
We do.
from
I
Tyler
was gonna
Gibson.
tell you.
So my taste and my collecting in general has changed a bunch since I started. How has your all's taste and collecting changed since you started?
Great question.
Who would like to field that one first?
Do you want me to go this time, RJ?
Sure.
Mine has changed just beyond belief. When I first started, I mean, I'd carried pocket knives, but I was never I wasn't even what you would call a knife lover. I liked them as tools. I used them in bushcraft and I used them in fishing. So I used knives for a purpose. But when I got into watching YouTube and then starting to collect different types of knives, I started to find places here in the UK that sold locking knives. I didn't even know there was places out there that done that. You know, online stores. No idea. I am completely technical stupid. But I started to find them, and then I was watching YouTube, and there wasn't so much on slip joints, which are legal over here. So I chased the locking knives, and for years that's what my main part of my channel was locking knives, until I got to a stage where the locking knives weren't getting me as excited as what they'd done when I first started getting them, because one, I can't really carry them legally here, but two, I wanted to go back to slip joints again. Slip joints are so much more simple. I don't have to do maintenance other than give them a quick blowout and a polish, which I don't do very often either. But I don't mind if they get a bit dirty, or there's, everything about them is just, I've gone back to my childhood days when it was all slip joints, or it was belt sheath knives. We're allowed to, I can remember as teenagers running about with belt sheath knives over here in Northern Ireland, which is unheard of now. So mine has changed. I've gone right back to mostly slip joints. Yes, I got a beautiful, there's a wee one. This is the wee knife. It was my first wee knife, and it's the Elementum in titanium and 20 CV, or not 20 CV, 20, can't think what it's called. It's that fancy steel. But I mean, yes, I do like them, but they're a very small part of my channel now. Honestly, I think I have about 20 locking knives, and the rest are all slip joints. And now, the likes of Tom and RJ, I mean, I've even got small EDC fixed blades, which I'm thoroughly enjoying.
Yeah.
So
Well,
mine
Paddy,
is just,
who made that last knife?
this
Did
is
you just
wee. This is wee.
That's a wee knife? Okay.
Yeah. And it's just the
Oh,
Elementum. It's Wee's version of the Elementum, and they've just done it with titanium and a higher blade steel.
Okay, that makes sense because it didn't look too tiny to me.
No, it's
Yeah, it didn't look like a wee knife.
It's not French, Tom. My goodness.
Well, Paddy's always confusing me because everything's either wee, which means it's made by we, or it's tiny, and he confuses me.
I can see where you get that confusion.
RJ, what do you think? How has your collecting changed over the years?
Well, I am about the same vintage as you guys, and we grew up with slip joints, we grew up with locking knives, and we kind of did both interchangeably. So I mean, I don't have old knives. I didn't grab a whole lot of stuff, but like this Rosecraft Blades Mohawk, this is definitely something that I would have been interested in from before. Anything was kind of a good modern knife, but at the same time, traditional knives really took over everything in my life, and like to wear a knife like this one. This is I had to pull this one out, that 6.5 bone stag from Case. Just such a beautiful knife. And I really like the way traditional knives, especially ones that, look good. Because, the whole thing, if you're going to do it, at least look good doing it. Right. So you want to have some class, some style, something, and you can get, class and style from traditional knives that, you're not going to get from this honey badger. And the honey badger is going to do a fantastic job for you. And I like the honey badger a lot, but it's not going to touch my heart like the trapper is, or any of them. I mean, even this slip joint from Rough Rider, this is their swayback, but it has the VG10 blade and the aluminum handles. Fantastic knife, and something that you wouldn't believe that a knife like this with this much capability, these kind of materials, this kind of, and it all under $20. That's just
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is an amazing knife for somebody that likes Wharncliffes, that likes a nice slim single bladed slip joint. Just a wonderful, beautiful knife, and just in such a bargain. I mean, we are so blessed to live today, where we can get, things like this and can actually afford them. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a big difference from now and when I first started. You can get a knife like that for under $20. In my day, the under $20 was like a Ganzo or something like that. But the difference, the quality of that knife is just way beyond that now. I mean, you can. Yes. That's why I say you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a channel. When you can get a knife as good as that, as well made as that, for $20, I mean, there really is no reason to go more expensive. But,
right.
If you want to stay there, you can quite happily stay there, and I'll quite happily watch you. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not I mean, look, I think the expensive knives are great for your ego. It's great for having in your collection, but they are, my expensive ones are for me nearly, rather than the channel. The channel are the everyday knives, the knives that you use the most. That's what makes the channel up. Having a fancy knife is show off time. And who doesn't show off a wee bit every now and then?
Exactly.
Hey, we got John from JO Ventures, and he's probably asked the most relevant question yet this morning. Shouldn't you people be sleeping?
It's a normal part of the day for me.
Well, J.O., when you're an amateur, you can sleep. When you're a professional, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and come to work.
That's funny. Welcome, John. Well, I guess I'll take a stab on answering that question. I guess, like I said, I was watching Tobias, and I got interested in the old slip joints and that, and I've always had buck knives always had quite a reputation, because as I was growing up, every knife or knife pouch you saw on a farmer's belt or one of the men's belt, it didn't matter what was inside the pouch. It was just a buck knife. Everything was a buck knife, So I kind of always grew up hearing all about that. So when I first started doing my collecting, I had a local resident here that I got to know, and he had quite a collection of vintage, new old stock slip joint buck knives. So I started buying those, and I thought, I'm going to start my buck collection. And this is way before I even thought about doing a YouTube channel or a video. And I was slowly collecting buck knives. Well, then in 2018, Case came out with a family of knives in the smooth blue ice, and it had the Christian fish symbol on it, or the ichthus. Yeah. And I thought, that's neat. And so I started buying some of those, and that's kind of at the same time, simultaneously, when the collecting bug really just bit me hard. And I thought, I need to get all of those knives, in that family of knives in 2018. And I had, over the years, I got them all bought, but I was missing one. And I'm happy to say that here just the other day, I've had an eBay alert out for months, hoping one of these knives would show up. The other day it finally showed up and I was able to get it. So I have completed now the 2018 family of knives of the Ichthys collection with the smooth blue ice.
Beautiful.
And there's, I don't know, 10 or 11 knives in this family from 2018.
That's
Now
a
there are,
lovely collection to have.
let me turn my light. I'm getting a lot of glare. There.
And you don't see a lot of case doctor's knives, but they really did a really great job on that.
Yep. Now what's interesting is it doesn't have a spatula. It has a pen blade as a secondary. But they're
Well, actually, Tom, it's reversed. It's a doctor's knife. So that's the main blade. You
No.
you start with the little blade and then you go to the big blade if you need to go deeper.
Okay.
What was that button you said you had?
I was just going to say I need to look for that. Remove, forever, banish. So that's that's just kind of how my knife collecting journeys went. And then I got to get going into the antique stores and looking for old knives from companies that I'd never heard of before, and most people have never heard of. But there's some of these knife makers that in their day, they were the Spyderco of their day, if you will. They were popular knives, but as knife companies come and go, and they get forgotten about. But there was always, just so many neat old knives to find and to collect, and I like to learn about the history of those. So my collecting has kind of gone in three different directions, I guess, now. Three different focuses.
Yeah, but like what do you call it? The new fella BJ's knives. He just collected the Buck 307 series.
Oh, Big J. Yeah, Big J's
J,
knife.
yeah, right, Big J. I was watching his video yesterday, and what a lovely little to have collections like that is lovely.
He's got the whole 700 series of those Buck knives, and I'm jealous.
Yeah,
I have 2 of the 5, but
I don't have a series like that where I collect, a whole. I have my GECs that I collect, but they're not a series as such. And I'm going to have to think of a series that I could actually get myself into, just to say, here's a series I've got. And there you go. Something like that can set off a new direction for you to go at any time while you're collecting. Somebody will do something, and I've got to do that.
Right, and then you just pivot and you go in that direction. You see where it leads. Absolutely. And that's the fun part of collecting too, is that you have the ones where you just are going for a set, or some you're going for whatever, and you can take it in whatever direction you want to go. And all those knives are out there waiting for you. That's for sure.
And I think that's perfect. If you're just starting, keep that in mind. You can have sets that are not overpriced. Like you can have case, which is a medium price. Right. Maybe you have to save up a couple of quid depending on your circumstances, but they're not unobtainable.
Right.
Case knives are a great knife to pick a collection from. Buck knives are a great collection, to start from.
Right.
Rough Rider, you can have a huge collection. Look at young, what do you call him, young William. I don't know how many knives young William has. He must be getting close to I've forgotten his blooming name now. Tobias. He must be getting close to Tobias in Rough Riders.
Yeah, I think that with William, if I remember right, at least from the scenes that he shows from his balcony, that he may be on a upper floor of an apartment building. He's getting so many knives, he's probably gonna have to move down to the first floor so he doesn't break through the ceiling of his neighbor. But
most of his collection are budget knives, and he has a huge collection.
And what a wonderful channel he has.
He's the eccentric American to me.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that's wonderful about William's channel is that when you watch his channel, you don't know what you're going to get. You know,
No, you don't.
you might get something, you know, with about a knife. You might watch a dinosaur fight. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, just or his comedy videos, or you know, lately he's been getting into flashlights a lot. You know, so he's inspired me. There may be a flashlight video coming up, you know, some point here in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, definitely, you know, you just never know what he's gonna do, if he's, you know, hunting crickets with a Bowie knife, or you know, just all
So,
kinds of stuff.
J.O. Ventures Outdoors here. He says Victorinox. Yeah,
yeah.
he's a big sack guy there.
Yes,
And
he is.
so this is kind of going on with the whole collecting thing. I don't consider myself a Victorinox collector, although during the 90s I always had what is the Economy Recruit in my pocket. I carry an Evo Grip 11 every day as one of my two knives. Every day that's in my pocket. And
Yeah.
I've been using Swiss Army knives for years and didn't even give it a second thought.
Right.
And I look around and I've got like 6, 7, or 8 of them now. And it's like these things are coming out of nowhere. So do you guys have any, like a collection where I didn't start out to collect these and now all of a sudden I've got all of these knives?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Well, what's your story, since we're bearing our soul here?
Well, I mean, just like with Victorinox, I've always carried an SD Classic. Recently, that changed because of a suggestion from our live streams. So now, instead of a SD Classic, I've been carrying a Rambler for the last couple of weeks, and I really like it. I think it's a really cool knife, and actually, I think of it as a upgrade to oh yeah, there is a guy that has a fantastic sow belly collection, you know, that is
Not
really
very good in the mornings, though.
but anyways, the where I was going with the Rambler and stuff is that it's really started to make me look at, you know, the Swiss Army knives, and of course, you know, Ray, you know, sent out these Excelsiors, which is just a lovely knife. And I got this, you know, this ALOX, you know, one. So I'd like to get some more ALOX. And then, you know, even this one, this little Traveler, you know, putting the new scales on it and stuff, it's made me think about, you know, just how, because when it came to me, it had no scales on it whatsoever. It was just the metal knife, you know, and just how putting on, you know, replacement scales made it feel like a whole brand new knife. And now I'm thinking about ones that I may have passed over in a antique or secondhand store, and you know, maybe I need to just grab one of those knives, and if it's in good shape and can clean it up, throw some new scales on it, and it's like, you know, wow, you know, you got a whole new thing. It's like putting new tires on your car. Yeah.
It's funny. You were talking about collections. I was saying I don't really have a collection. And then somebody mentioned Victorinox and I said, oops, yes, I've got a collection.
Yep.
Last year I went buck mad on Victorinox and I got about 30. So I mean, when I go mad, I tend to go mad. Well, I've stopped buying now, but I'm starting to update some of the ones, like putting new scales on them and things like that. So, and my little friend Justin, he's made me a couple that were just specifically made up for me, and they're my favorite of the lot.
Yeah, they are. They're really like I keep saying, you know, it's a rabbit hole because there's just, you know, so many models. There's so many ways you can go with that, and you know, so many different things that happened over the decades. You know, different model changes, different tool changes. Yeah, so you can really go down that one a lot.
Getting back to that guy that has a lot of those sow bellies.
Oh yeah,
he's awful proud of that collection. I don't know if he's got 300 or 400 of them, but I think he's more proud of. I don't think he's actually collecting the sow belly. I think he's proud that he's collected 300 or 400 spay blades.
You can't
Wow.
say you don't like a spy blade and have that collection. He is just he's a closet spare.
Closet spare. I like that one.
Yeah. And I'm sure it was like one or two really bad incidents with one, and that swore him off of that blade. I don't know.
It's a man's blade, you see. Very hard to work with.
And I have to ask you guys, speaking of traditional knives, did you happen to watch the one that Smoky Mountain Knife Works came out with their top 5 traditional knives? Did you happen to watch that video?
I did not see that one. Go ahead and discuss that one.
Okay. Were you shocked like I was, Patty, at that
Absolutely.
top 5 list? I would have never thought that the Camp King knife was number 1.
But yet I have one. I never
do
used
too.
it, but I have one.
So that's the top 5 traditional knife patterns or slip joint knife patterns?
Well, they were going off of like they said, they didn't want to go off anything except their sales.
Okay.
So they were going off their sales, and I mean, like the Stockman wasn't even on the list. I was shocked at that.
Or the Barlow.
Barlow was on there.
Oh, was that? Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
Barlow was
Barlow
on
would
there. The Trapper was on there. The Camp King. I can't remember the Sodbuster, and one of those other knives. Help me out, guys. Somebody else can. Someone who's more awake than I am.
It was a complete surprise, though. It's not the order you would have thought. Even the ones they had on it were not in the order you would have thought.
Well, the thing was that the GI blade that they showed from Marbles, the $6 one, and I have one of those. Oh, the toothpick. That was right. That was the other one.
Yeah.
The toothpick was, and that was surprising too, that the toothpick would be on there. But with the Marbles knife being like $6 or $7, Warthog only heard Barlow. Yeah. Well, you're right. You're right, John. Like you said, that list, they only went back to the beginning of this year. And so he said he wouldn't put too much into it. But that was kind of a fun, quantitative thing. But I think a lot of people buy that little GI blade because they're trying to get to the point where they get free shipping. And so it's like, if I just add another, $6 knife, and it's there, it's right at the right price at the right time.
Wouldn't that be a great one? What is the best add-on knife? And see which one.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. Is that could be a tag that we could do.
Yeah.
Is what add-on knife did you buy just because like you had to get free shipping, but then you found out you really liked it, and you were just like, oh, I'll just grab this cheap little thing and we'll just go from there.
Well, RJ, that's kind of in line with a question I was going to ask. Is there a knife pattern or maybe a knife from a knife maker where you didn't have great expectations, but you ordered it as an add-on knife and all of a sudden you got it and you're totally surprised and amazed by it?
Yeah, I don't think I can't think off the top of my head of one, because usually if I am trying to get to the free shipping or something, I still try to get something I want, so because I am making an order. So I think that would be tough. I'd have to go and look at my collection to tell you the truth.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
But
it's an interesting question, though.
I agree with you, John. He's talking about the Congress was given an honorary number 6 slot, and it was a vault release. So I think the Congress would not be on any top 6 list if you would have gone back prior to this year. Like I think it would have been more of a true test, like you said, if like say they did all the from 2022 and it had a full 12 months, obviously it would have changed that lineup for sure.
Yeah. So Okay,
Oh, Cap Addict, don't let Tobias know that he finds toothpicks to be the least attractive traditional pattern, but Tobias loves the toothpicks. I think they're pretty cool. I don't know. I have one case mini toothpick, but I've not tried really any of the other ones.
Well,
I got this marbles in ram's horn, and it was under $15. I don't remember what it was, $10 or $11, something like that.
Yes.
From Chicago Knife Works, and it's in the ram's horn. Of course, got the nice case that J.O. Ventures made for me, John.
Yeah.
Keep it in this. I'm absolutely loving this knife. The problem is you can't find many of the full size toothpicks. A lot of them are just the mediums or the tinies. But I love this full size toothpick. The more I use it, the more I love it.
Yeah, I think I'm on that opposite road. I've got a little small one. I used to have a GEC one, which when I first got it, thought it was the bee's knees. But after about a year, it started not to get carried, and then I forgot about it. And then I traded it on for something else because I'm trying to get my collection down where if one comes in, one goes out.
Oh,
and it's
that's
quite hard sometimes to keep to that.
I can't even believe you said that. that hurt my feelings. I mean, I hope my wife doesn't watch this on playback. One comes in, one goes out. No.
But I have to say it, and I suppose it's for I'm by no means on the bones of my backside, but it got to the stage where when I was buying a lot of the modern knives, they were so expensive, and I don't. It's not that I can't. It's not even that I can't. I don't want to sometimes spend that much money. I like having very specific ones that I'll spend money on, but I sort of like. I found Ashley Harrison, a custom maker, that you can get a custom knife for £100. Under £100, he'll do them for £70 for a basic. That to me is that's the bargain of the lifetime. A completely handmade knife for that price, just fantastic. So,
Paddy, I know RJ has said this, and you probably have too. But would we kind of talk about getting into some for the new knife collector or the new knife enthusiast, especially with like slip joint knives? Start out with some of the budget knives. Find a pattern you like, and then if you want to invest in a nicer one, why, you know what pattern then to invest in.
Exactly.
Right? If you don't like the pattern, you haven't spent that much money on it, and you can give it to a friend or what have you.
Right.
I've kind of seen you talk about this. Isn't that kind of the path that you took? Weren't you just kind of talking about that? You started out with a lot of budgets. Now you've come to the point in your life, you don't need a lot of different knives for quote collecting, but you know what your favorite patterns are, and you just kind of focus in on those patterns and get some of the upper end knives. Is that true?
And a lot of it is what you can get. I'd rather buy on the secondary market rather than buy a new one, if I'm truth be told, because I'm not. A couple of scratches on a knife wouldn't stop it coming into my collection. I'm pretty careless as far as maintenance and things like that go. I talk about them, do videos about them, watch videos about them. I have no time to clean my knives. That would not be part of my my collecting at all. So yes, I had a box full of Rough Riders because they're the best ones you can get readily. Anybody can, anywhere in the world. You can nearly get a Rough Rider and buy the pattern, see what you think of it, and then you can let that Rough Rider go. You can now. The big R wrecked Rough Rider for me. I hated that big R with a passion. It just ruined the knives for me. So I gave so many. I think I wouldn't have a dozen Rough Riders now, but I'm starting to now think, right, They've stopped the big R. There's a couple of Barlows I like that don't have the big R on them. So I'm going to start collecting them again, the ones that have not got the big R. So that's giving me a fresh.
I thought the big R was for RJ.
That's what I thought too. That's why I bought so many of them.
How about you?
They know me.
How about you, RJ? What do you think? Have you kind of not sure about a certain pattern, so you bought some budget ones first to try to see what they're like, and then
Absolutely, I did. I tried several different ones from Rough Rider, Imperial, marbles. There's all kinds of different ones, and then there's some things that Rough Rider and marbles do where they have canoes, elephant toes and sunfish, and cotton samplers, even with the toothpicks, where you can explore some of the patterns that are kind of on the I'm not going to say on the fringe, but they're not the ones that the big makers aren't pumping those out in volume. So if you want to experience what it's like to handle a cotton sampler, for instance, I have one and I got a Rough Rider, and they do make some other ones. There are other companies that make them too, but they are, few and far between. So it does give you a nice thing, and you can explore historical, patterns that way. You aren't going to see a lot of large folding hunters, for instance, so you can get those at a reasonable cost. And the nice thing with Rough Rider is that they give you a big selection of cover materials. You can get synthetic, you can get bone, you can get, whatever kind of thing you're interested in. So you can try those different things. Do I like a synthetic? Do I like a bone? Like for me, day to day, if I'm going to work, I like something like a synthetic, cover material, because I know it's going to not get ruined if, I go somewhere, or even if I drop it. Whereas if it's a bone or even wood, that I have to worry about it getting cracked or getting it, dinged up to where, it's going to have a pretty big chip in it or something.
Okay, we got a question again from Tyler. It's a good question, and I'm going to field this one first. So Tyler's asking, are there any knives y'all have given away or traded? First off, I have to make a correction here. We're not using proper grammar here, Tyler. There's 3 of us. So properly, the way to ask that would be, are there any knives all y'all have gotten away or traded and really missed, or wish you hadn't gotten rid of?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yes. I can take a shot at that one. I had this beautiful buck 55 that I sent away to I thought he was a friend at the time. And
this is a sad tale.
It had to be my most favorite knife and my most cherished knife, and I sent it to him, out of respect and, and our friendship. And he promised, he says, it's okay, you can have visitation and you can see your knife again. And I've never, ever seen that knife again. So
it's around here somewhere. I don't know. I don't know exactly where it is. It's around here somewhere.
But seriously,
I can actually go lay hands on it right now if you need to see it.
No. Seriously, yeah. There's been some knives that I've given away, and at first it kind of stings a little bit. It's like, do I really want to do it? But it doesn't take long, and then when I know they've got it and they're happy with it and they're overjoyed to get it, that means much more than that knife. I mean, when we get down to it, the knife is some metal or wood and bone and this and that. Just the knowing that somebody got it and they're appreciative of it, that takes the sting away immediately. So, but anyway, for Paddy and RJ, would you like to answer that question?
All of them.
All of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. The one knife that got away, that it was actually in a knife trade. that I did with Mark Kaufman, because he said, "Hey, I saw this knife. Would you want to maybe trade knives and stuff?" And I kind of didn't want to, but I kind of wanted the knife he had, and so
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Well, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. Box it up, send it, and we did a nice knife trade, and I had to go replace that knife. I had to go buy it again. So,
Yeah.
so yes, it does happen. And that knife in particular was a one of the newer Queen saw cut bone canoes. I couldn't get over that knife. When I got it, I thought it was just an absolutely perfect example of a canoe, and I just couldn't stand to not have it in my collection. So it was one that I traded, but one that I had to get back at some point.
Yep. And Patty, before you answer there, I just wanted to welcome in. We got Diver Dave. He's joined in here, so
Oh,
yeah.
nice to see David.
it's good
Yep.
good to see him. So anyway, go ahead, Patty.
Oh, I could reel you off a whole list of knives,
Yeah.
especially GEC, which to build my collection up, I traded and swapped and added money to, or added another knife to get GECs in the first place. But there's so many now that if I had known the relevance of what that knife was in the GEC collection, I'd never have got rid of. Now, some were given away, some were sold, some were traded. It doesn't matter. But it's only hindsight that lets you know how much you wish that was in your collection now, because you haven't got it. And to get it, you would probably have to pay twice of what I paid for it when I got it. You know what I mean? So you've always got that, because they're always going up in price in the secondary market. Although apparently this year they're starting to creep back down again at the secondary market. I don't know America, but that's what I've been told. They're starting to come down a wee bit in price. But yeah, it's GECs are a hard collection to keep up with. One, they're hard to get, and then two, they're hard to get at the right price, and you have to balance that up. I'm very fortunate. I think I have about 16 now, 15 or 16. I was up to 25, and then I realized, oh, that's too many. I can't keep up with that, so I had to sell to get other things. So, but that's the whole part of the game. It's all that excitement of bartering, trading, doing. I thoroughly enjoyed that, because I didn't do it for years. I just bought and kept everything in my drawers. And then a couple of years ago, I started, you can trade in the secondary market. And from then, it's been a joy, because I've been able to get so many different knives.
Yeah.
But trading in good knives to get them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Before we go any further, RJ, do you have any shameless promotions that you would like to make?
Yeah, I guess this would be the time that you usually do the shameless promotions.
Yeah, go ahead and do your shameless promotion.
Well, please, and I know you guys that are in the comments section, you're regular viewers of ours, but please come join us on Sunday, where we do this with. We also include John from Thrifty Kniffy and Matt from Slip Joint Sawyer, and we kind of have a roundtable knife discussion, knife show, and just have fun like this. So please join us there. Of course, subscribe to Tom at Knife Delights, and Patty, if you haven't done so already. I'm sure you guys have. For anybody who's watching this that's new to the knife channels, I think that both of those guys are fantastic places to start. Of course, I'll have to do a shameless plug for myself. I have a little small channel on YouTube where I talk about all kinds of knives. Let's see. There's also I have a little store that has some RJ's knives stuff, and if you want to get some RJ's stickers and stuff like that, you can join RJ's Regiment on the channel, and we'll get some stickers and stuff out to you. Did I do okay, Tom? Did I forget
You did great. You did terrific.
And if you go in my comments, speaking of budget knives, if you'd like to get some nice Roper knives, you can get a 20% discount. I have a discount code in the description box of all of my videos. So you can go there and get yourself a nice traditional knife or a modern knife because they make kind of everything. So
Hey, William
I
joined us.
love you, William. I love you.
We were discussing you earlier. It was all kind. Believe me, it was all kind. No,
It was. We didn't even talk about Cracky, but
no,
that'd
we
be
didn't.
awesome. At 5 o'clock in the morning, have a free Cracky giveaway. That'd be great.
We'll have to think about that in the future, won't we? So, Patty,
Yeah.
do you have any shameless promotions that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I'd like everybody who's in here to go and sub to Last Chance Knives. I mean, and that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing we can do is promote other knives. And I'm lazy. Sometimes I forget. So that's why I'm saying if you want your name or your channel shouted out, hit up anybody who's out there. Anybody. They'll not mind. In fact, they'll find it a privilege to be able to do it for you. As long as it's a channel that they can relate to. Because we can't watch everybody and we can't relate to everybody. But getting people's names out there gives other people a chance. Even if it's not something you follow closely, just give them a shout out. And it's something I don't do on my channel. I never really have got into it. Again, probably because I'm too lazy to think about it, is sub to the channel if you like them. Don't leave it to the next time. Sub that time. Hit like.
Yeah.
Subscribe. I mean, I very rarely ask for that. But it is important. And this is maybe my one time at saying, I'd love it if you liked my video, if you subscribed and you subbed. That's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's confusing to me. That's why I don't do it. It is so important that if you're watching something, you think it's half decent, hit that wee like button because it means a lot to that person who's put the time in to make that video for you. So that would be my one thing. But yeah.
Yep. And I have a new channel that I just have been talking to this past week, and we've been going back and forth. And he has a channel called the Tired Tiger, and I can relate to that title right now because I'm tired and I'm kind of a tiger too. So,
oh, man up.
Hello, FW Clock Guy. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you stopping by. I guess I could do a shameless promotion for William. I watched his video earlier this morning before this live here, and he was kind of going over a couple new knives he got. And William has a membership also, and I know he does like monthly giveaways for his members. So
yeah,
he does.
Yeah, everyone check out William's Knife Life and become a member. And he has some very nice giveaways. I hope I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I believe he takes some money from his memberships and just buys knives to give away to the members. So
yeah, he does.
Mm-hmm.
And two lovely knives this month, a Queen and a Rough Rider.
Right.
And he's also got a very saucy postcard inspired knife with a beautiful picture on it, if you like that sort of thing.
Yep. Kind of the old airplane nose art, isn't it?
That's
if I remember
one.
right. Yep.
That's the one, yeah.
So, is there anything? I've been asking a lot of questions. Do you two have any questions for me? And I've just put a big target on my back by asking that.
I've got a question. I would love to see more of your bigger buck knives, but you've sort of gone off from showing them a bit. Is there a reason for that, or
no? As a matter of fact, you did an open tag. Was it last fall? Something about your Magnificent 7 Rough Riders, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have any Rough Riders, so I did a Magnificent 7, but it was my buck knife fixed blades. That video has had, I want to say, 6,000 views or more. I mean, it is by far my most popular video I have on my channel. But I have done some of my fixed blades. You're right. It's time for me to revisit those and get back into them.
Because they are beautiful knives, and I feel as if you're sort of this is probably just my thoughts, but you're joining in more with the traditionals at the minute, and I would love to see your passion bits, the good buck knives that you have.
I can do that. I certainly can do that. You bet. Yeah, you don't have to encourage me to show my buck knives. But I will say this though, I did do I think it was a 9-part series on the overview
yeah,
of my
I've seen
buck
that too, yeah.
collection.
Yes.
So I did have one video on my what I'd consider non-traditional buck fixed blade hunting
Yeah.
knives, and then one video on the actual traditional buck hunting knives. So
Yeah.
those are there in my buck knives playlist too. So, but yeah, I can show some more of them.
Sometimes it's nice just to study one knife, and get that, because you give lovely history to them, dates and things like that.
And
it's that one knife that you can get sunk into.
I especially with my buck knives, of all the companies, obviously I study their history, the most, and I'm always learning new things about. I thought I knew everything about this particular knife, and then I run across another article that gives a different aspect of it, and so I'm always learning about them.
Well, we have a couple of comment alerts, Tom.
Okay.
William says that the monthly giveaway is for anyone. You don't have to be a member or even subscribed.
Thank you, William. I apologize if I got that wrong. Thanks for correcting that.
Yeah, so everybody head over to William's Knife Life and watch his videos, because you never know, you just might win a really cool knife or pair of knives or whatever. And Slippy wants to know what time is the giveaway. He's tired.
Oh, we already did that 2 hours ago.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Matt, you missed it.
There was only 3 people in the giveaway, and we all got one each.
That's right, we did. Oh, that's right. We forgot to hit start broadcast, didn't we? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, but we're all happy with the knives we won, right?
Yes, I think so. They're fantastic.
RJ, here's your shot. Here's your chance. Do you have a question for me? Yep.
No, I don't.
Well, you're letting me off easy.
I am.
It must
RJ's ready for sleeping now.
I think he's ready for sleeping.
It's got to be the time of the day that's getting to me. But yeah, I don't have any burning questions that I need to ask you there, Tom.
Okay.
I'd just like to thank Tom and you, RJ, for this ungodly hour. And I know it was more for my benefit. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But make it a bit later the next time so that the two of you get some sleep. I'm too much into our sleep.
I will actually get some good rest today. So it's good. I'll be ready to go for tomorrow. Don't worry.
It's been a real privilege, as always. We always find something to talk about.
Yeah, surprising, isn't it?
Yeah. But RJ was talking about needing this beauty sleep, and I agree. I think we ought to let him go get some here, Paddy. So we've been going about an hour and a half here, so I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
It doesn't seem that long.
I know it goes fast. It really goes fast. So
we'll go on for another hour. AJ, buck up there. Get a coffee.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Can we talk about knives?
Yeah, we can talk about knives. Yep.
Okay, then I'm there.
And thank you to all the people in the talking box. I can't sleep. I'm not even tired.
The comments.
Everyone in the talking box, Paddy appreciates you.
Yeah. And go ahead, RJ. Do you have any closing thoughts there?
No, I don't.
See, it's early in the morning. Look at that, Paddy. We got him speechless.
Yeah, you do.
This is my final one. No adult knife collectors were harmed in the filming of this video.
That's true. That is true.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that all happens off camera.
Yeah. Well, I'd just like to echo what Paddy said. Thanks everybody for joining in, and we thoroughly enjoyed it here. And for anyone watching this on the replay, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please, everyone, remember to hit that like button if you would. Absolutely. And until next time, everyone have a very delightful day.
All right.
Good night, everybody.